Hey there, it's Rich. And this is a report on the first 650 miles on this new bike, which is a KTM 2016 KTM 690 Duke that I just bought about a week ago. And no, I didn't get rid of my Royal Enfield. I'm keeping that forever. I didn't get rid of my Simba, the little 100cc bike, but my Sim Wolf 150 is gone. I don't know if I recorded anything about this, but I had the engine seize at highway speed because I basically just pushed the bike too hard. I rode it very hard, and it was going to cost quite a bit more to repair than the bike was worth, so I decided to sign it over to my mechanic for a project bike because they've done a lot of nice things for me over the last year. And that made room in the garage for another motorcycle because my rule for myself is I'm allowed to have 3. And they have to be for different purposes. I was really looking for something that I could take on the highway. And I don't just mean casually, but something that I would be willing to take out for a 300-mile touring day. And the Royal Enfield can't quite handle that easily. I mean, it does, but I've had a lot of trouble with mine. My last 2 attempts to ride it, the 250 miles from New York to Washington, D.C., have ended in disablement and a tow for different reasons. So, I really wanted something that had modern reliability. And as I looked around, this, I looked at all sorts of things. I looked at Triumphs. I looked at all of the basic Honda and Yamaha bikes, like the Yamaha FZ07 or MT07 and the Honda CB500F. Basic, not too expensive, not too complicated bikes. And I looked at Moto Guzzi's, and I looked at all sorts of things, but really, and originally, I was gonna, I'll just go up this way. Originally, I was gonna insist on something that had a very large dealer network, like a Honda or a Yamaha. But the MT07, the seat's a little low. It's a little heavy for me. The Hondas, the 2016 model, they don't look very good. There's way too much plastic on them. Apparently the 2017s are going to look a little better, but I wanted something that was out on the market now. And then I heard about these KTM street bikes, and this turns out to be perfect for me. It's a big single. 600 and something cc. It's called 690. It's probably 680 something. And a lot of people complain about things like vibration on a big single, but given that my main ride for 7,000 miles has been a Royal Enfield, to me it's nothing. And so I did my 80 miles of local break-in riding, and then I took it on the road. On a long-distance trip down to Washington, D.C. And back, which is about 250, 270 miles each way. And it did absolutely fine. No problems whatsoever. Lots of power. I've gone from being always the slowest car on the road, the vehicle on the road, to being able to be the fastest vehicle on the road when I want to be. And what I love about a bike like this, 2 things. One, it's very lightweight. It's under 350 pounds. And I like that a lot. I really like small maneuverable bikes that I can pick up if they fall over and so forth. The other thing I like is it's always got more power in reserve. At any speed, in any gear, a little twist of the throttle will get you out of any situation that you're in that you don't want to be in. So, really, it's been a pleasure. The ergonomics for me are perfect. I'm very tall, and I can flat foot the bike, but I'm basically fully upright when I ride it. You know, the downside, which I mentioned in my earlier video, is that it runs very, very hot in city traffic. And that means that I've always got my eye on the temperature gauge. I don't want it to overheat. I don't want to do damage to it. I wouldn't say I baby it, but if I'm in stop and go traffic, I keep myself aware of the temperature, and I'll do things like right up the middle, you know, do a little bit of lane splitting just to keep it moving, because as long as it's moving, there's no problem. As long as it's moving, you know, you see here on the gauge, I've got 4 bars of temperature here out of 8. As long as it's moving, it stays below 6. So 7 bars, you start to get, you know, overheat warnings on the console, which is a pain in the ass. And I understand there's a replacement thermostat switch for the fan, the cooling fan, that turns the fan on at a lower temperature, at around 80 degrees centigrade instead of the 100 or so when at which point the factory thermal switch kicks in. And if I can figure out how to get one, I will. The KTM part situation in some ways is better than the Enfield part situation, because there's, you know, there are multiple official and unofficial distributors, but in other ways it's worse, because if you need an Enfield part, there's 2 people that you call. The US distributor, well, 3 people now. You know, you call the US distributor, you call Classic Motor Works, which used to be the US distributor, or you call Hitchcock's in the UK, and between the 3 of them, they have 100% of everything available, both OEM and aftermarket. This is a little more complicated. You know, you call up dealers and they don't have things in stock. They say, well, we can order them, but the KTM system is down, we can't get them now. You call the few aftermarket people, and most of them seem to just be dealers that are in the mail order business that are ordering from the same place. So if you need something, you gotta call around half a dozen dealers and find someone who has one in stock, or you gotta wait an unspecified number of weeks. So I mean, I called all around trying to find the thermal switch for this and was not successful. I understand that there's a Suzuki part that fits it. It's just standard auto parts, but I haven't looked into that yet. Hang on a second, let me get around this traffic. It's Friday night, so things are a little congested here in this nightlife district on the Lower East Side. There's a club with people outside. Here's a woman in a party dress. There's a garbage truck loading. All this stuff happens in New York City. So anyway, I mean, I can feel the fan that vents the excess heat blows right on my shins to the left and right. And right now, my left foot on the foot peg, I can feel the hot air coming out. You know, it's not, if you're wearing pants, it's not going to burn you. But this is a bike I would not wear in shorts. I mean, not that you should ever do that, but I would not, ever. I would not ever do it here. I like the fact that this bike feels extremely stable. it feels like at normal, at street speeds, it feels like, and I'm not taking this literally, but it feels like it would be almost impossible to tip over. That even like, jerking the handlebars around is not gonna unbalance the bike, and I like that a lot. As someone who, I ride for transportation primarily. I ride in the city, where there's a lot of congestion and stuff happening. I'm relatively rarely in a typical week out on the open road. It's more like this. And I like feeling like, if I have to accelerate to get out of a jam, the bike will take care of itself during those 5 seconds when I'm urgently moving out of the way of whatever it is I'm moving out of the way of. I've become a lot more ballsy about lane splitting in the city, which is technically illegal, but usually, very often, the rational thing to do. So far, I've been happy with this. I'm up to 671 miles on the odometer. When it hit 620 miles, or whatever 1,000 kilometers is, I was actually on the New Jersey Turnpike at 75 miles an hour, and this warning wrench icon pops up on the display, and it was alarming because I didn't know what it was. But so I pulled off into a service area and Googled, and it turns out it's just the mileage-driven indicator that it's time for warranty service. So I'm taking the bike in Wednesday. They're going to do the service. I've ordered a carrier plate to go out on the far rear, beyond the pillion seat, kind of over the rear brake light, to help carry a longer soft bag on the pillion seat and on that plate. I have a Kriega US 20, which I like traveling with. I like the system. The bags are dry, and they're versatile. They attach to anything. I can move them on and off of bikes. I can carry it on my shoulder. So I have a US 20 and a US 10, a 20 liter and a 10 liter bag, which can strap together. And I carried the US 20 on this trip, but it flops off the back of the pillion seat. It doesn't look good. So you really need a little more flat space to carry it effectively. So this is nightlife crowds coming out of the Standard. I think that's the Standard Hotel in Cooper Square. This roadway. This is annoying. This has been under construction for like a year and a half, but it's almost finished. This plaza on the left is new. They've pedestrianized a whole section of this area, which is very heavily used, and it's going to be great. So we don't mind the disruption. I like when New York City invests in amenities for people who are not in motor vehicles, because that's how most of the people are. God, it is a pleasure to ride something that is ergonomically designed for someone my size. You can see my knees fit right in the tank wells on the sides of the tank. I'm used to having such long legs that they go beyond any knee rests or pads on any tank. But I'm really, this is designed to accommodate somebody like me. So here's a taxi kind of inching into my space. Like, I could go up the middle here, but let's see. You got to be careful because people are doing stuff like that. It's all taxi loading and club goers. Let's this guy go. These, you see the license plate here that says T and LC, Taxi and Limousine Commission. That's a what we call livery cab here in New York. It's a for hire vehicle, like a, like an Uber, except it also includes people who work for car services and so forth. And they and the taxi drivers are the best, safest drivers in the city, all things considered. And so I try to give them, I try to let them in, because they're out there all day in the traffic. Let's see if we can clear 14th Street. Like here, I'm sitting, creeping through traffic. The engine temp is up to 5 bars. My knees are warm and my shins are hot. But as soon as we start moving, in a minute it'll drop down to 4 bars. Come on, drop down. It's not dropping down. At least it's not going any higher. Yep, now it's down to 4 bars. I didn't do anything other than ride, and the bike cooled off. And I assume some of that is because of secondary air cooling, and the vented heat that's the fan is blowing off is being blown away by cool air, and some of that is because the water cooling is circulating better when the bike is moving. All right, we're at the end of the ride, so thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time on this bike or another one.